The post-credit scene of Fantastic Four: First Steps shocked everyone. Not just because of its surprise factor, but because of how chilling and quietly unsettling it was. There were no explosions, no multiversal portals opening, no massive fanfare. Instead, it was simple, focused, and deeply ominous. Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman, reading to Franklin Richards, her son, a picture of maternal peace and comfort. The camera lingers just enough to let us feel that sense of family warmth. Then Sue leaves the room and the atmosphere shifts. Shadows creep in, the tone turns foreboding. Dr. Doom enters, we see him from behind, towering, confident, menacing. He walks up to the unsuspecting Franklin Richards, the little boy unaware of the monster that stands behind him. Doom takes off his mask, revealing his face, but the audience doesn't see it. We only see Franklin, oblivious, and Doom's broad shoulders, his cold, calculated presence filling the room. The scene cuts to black. No words spoken, just that overwhelming feeling. Something terrible has just begun. That scene didn't just end a movie, it cracked open a whole new path for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And not just for the Fantastic Four, but for the Avengers, the X-Men, for every corner of Marvel storytelling that's about to collide in Avengers Doomsday. It's the kind of moment that Marvel fans live for, an electrifying post-credit stinger that doesn't just close a chapter, but rips open the door to something massive, something darker, something that echoes through the future of the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. After the credits rolled on Fantastic Four: First Steps, those who stayed in their seats witnessed a subtle, eerie, and powerfully understated scene. And yet somehow, it hit harder than most of the MCU's grand finales. Because in that silence, in that low-lit nursery, Marvel dropped a bombshell. A faint metallic sound echoes. The shadows in the room seem to shift. And from the edge of the darkness, a figure emerges, cloaked, armored, and unmistakable. It's Dr. Doom. Victor Von Doom himself, stepping into the MCU like a ghost from a future nightmare. His presence is suffocating. He doesn't speak at first. He doesn't need to. He stands over the sleeping Franklin Richards, watching him with a gaze that seems to pierce through the very fabric of the multiverse. Then, in one slow, dramatic motion, Doom raises his hand and begins to remove his mask. This is the moment. This is where Marvel usually gives fans that jolt of adrenaline. A face reveal, a connection, a glimpse of the actor who will carry this villain forward. But this time, nothing. Just the back of Doom's head. Just shadows. Just mystery. Marvel doesn't show us who's under the mask, and that's the brilliance of it. Because the internet exploded in speculation the moment the screen went black. First, let's talk about why Dr. Doom would even be in this position. In the comics, Victor Von Doom isn't just a brilliant scientist or a brutal dictator, he's a multiversal threat. A sorcerer, a ruler, a god in some storylines. And when Franklin Richards is involved, the stakes always get higher. Franklin isn't an ordinary child. He's a cosmic-level mutant with the power to warp reality, create universes, and alter existence itself. He is, quite literally, one of the most powerful beings in the entire Marvel universe. So the idea that Doom, someone obsessed with control, destiny, and superiority, would be interested in Franklin makes perfect sense. But this isn't a random appearance. Marvel never does anything without layers. The scene wasn't just about Doom entering the MCU. It was about Doom choosing to appear at this specific moment, while Franklin sleeps, after Sue Storm leaves, in a scene stripped of spectacle, relying purely on atmosphere and implication. That's not just storytelling, that's a warning. Doom is here, and he's playing the long game. Now let's dive into the Robert Downey Jr. connection. This is where things get surreal. The theory goes deeper. It suggests that this is a Tony Stark from a parallel universe, a darker one, a Stark who didn't learn the same lessons. one who embraced power at any cost. A variant who, instead of sacrificing himself to defeat Thanos, became someone like Doom. Think about the symmetry. Doom and Stark have always been two sides of the same coin: brilliant, arrogant, resourceful. Both have egos that stretch across galaxies. Both constantly battle their own morality. In some stories, Doom even considers himself superior to Stark in every way. So what if Marvel is playing with that idea literally? What if Doom is Stark? Not our Stark, but a Stark. One who went too far. Who chose conquest over redemption? That kind of twist would shake the MCU to its core. And there are breadcrumbs to support this. In Doctor Strange, in the Multiverse of Madness, we saw how dangerous variants can be. We saw what a twisted Wanda could do. We saw alternate versions of heroes making disastrous choices. The multiverse isn't just a tool for exploration, it's a minefield. And Marvel has only scratched the surface. Having Robert Downey Jr. return not as a savior, but as a threat, that's the kind of bold, paradigm-shifting move that Marvel needs right now. But let's zoom out again. Let's look at the broader picture. Why Franklin? Why now? Franklin Richards represents potential. Infinite, terrifying potential. In the comics, even the Celestials fear him. He's rewritten universes. He's created pocket realities. He's undone entire timelines. So when Doom steps into that nursery, he's not just looking at a child. He's looking at a weapon, or maybe a key, to power, to control, to godhood. And if Doom is from another universe, or if he's a corrupted Tony Stark, he may see Franklin as the one variable he needs to manipulate to reshape the multiverse in his own image. There's also an emotional angle here. Sue Storm, leaving the room without hesitation, almost knowingly, suggests she may be aware of Doom's presence. Or worse, she may have made a deal. In some of the darker comics arcs, Doom and Sue share a complicated past. He's not just a villain, he's a manipulator, a strategist. And he often plays the long game by planting seeds inside the family unit itself. If Marvel is going this route, we might be seeing the beginning of a tragedy where Franklin's upbringing is shaped not just by his parents, but by their greatest enemy lurking in the shadows. This also changes everything about where Phase 5 and Phase 6 of the MCU might be heading. Imagine a future where the Avengers reform, only to discover that Doom isn't just a villain. They know him. He used to be one of them. Or maybe in a different timeline, he led them. That kind of narrative twist opens the door to incredible storytelling. But here's the other thing. Marvel didn't just show Doom for shock value. That single scene set off a chain of implications about secret wars, about incursions, about the real future of the multiverse saga. Doom's presence confirms that Marvel is leaning into one of the most iconic comic arcs of all time, Secret Wars. And in that storyline, Doom isn't just a player, he's the god. He reshapes the multiverse into Battleworld. He steals power from the Beyonders. He becomes reality. If that's where we're heading, then Franklin Richards is absolutely central. He's the only being powerful enough to challenge Doom's godhood. And if Doom is raising him, manipulating him from childhood, that could be Marvel's version of the ultimate long con. A battle not just of powers, but of philosophies. Of nurture versus manipulation. Of legacy versus domination. And it gets even deeper when you realize what Marvel's really doing here. They're laying down the foundation for a saga that stretches across generations. The next phase of Marvel isn't just about characters like Sam Wilson or Shuri. It's about legacy, about the children of heroes, about the consequences of previous battles. Franklin Richards, Doom, even characters like Billy and Tommy Maximoff, all of them represent the next wave, the next conflict, the next war. That's why this post-credit scene matters. That's why it's more than just a tease. It's a declaration. Dr. Doom has arrived, and nothing will ever be the same. Dr. Doom isn't just any villain. He isn't the kind who shows up, throws a few punches, gets defeated, and comes back for the sequel. Doom is an emperor, a scientist, a sorcerer, a manipulator, and in some cases, a god. He is a man who believes that the world, perhaps even the multiverse, would be better under his rule. He's a character of immense depth, driven by a complicated blend of ego, trauma, ambition, and yes, a twisted sense of responsibility. When Doom moves, it's not out of impulse. Every step is calculated, every decision part of a grand scheme. So when Doom walks into the room where Franklin Richards sleeps, it's not a random act. It's a move that's been in planning for years, maybe decades. This wasn't Doom just making a surprise visit. This was Doom executing the next stage of his master plan. Franklin Richards, for those unfamiliar, is not an ordinary child. In the comics, he's considered one of the most powerful beings in the Marvel Universe. He's a mutant with godlike reality-warping powers, capable of creating universes, bending the fabric of reality, and altering existence itself. Franklin's potential surpasses any known limits. Even cosmic entities respect or fear him. And here in the MCU, his introduction signals the unlocking of a level of power that we've only glimpsed through characters like Scarlet Witch or Kang the Conqueror. Franklin is beyond even those. Doom knows this. Doom always knows. That's why, in the post-credit scene, his silence says more than any line of dialogue could ever convey. He's looking at the future, at power untapped, at a force that could either cement his rule or destroy it. So the question is, what does Doom want with Franklin Richards? The answer starts by considering Doom's traditional motivations. In the comics, Doom has always been obsessed with power, with control, with destiny. His mission is not mere conquest, but the reordering of reality under his hand. With the multiverse now fractured and the timeline splintered, Doom may be seeing an opportunity, or perhaps a necessity. To him, the multiverse is chaos, endless versions of heroes, villains, and disasters repeating in cycles. Doom in his mind is the only one capable of fixing it. And Franklin, the child who can shape existence, is the key to his solution. Imagine Doom has been watching from the shadows, studying not just Reed Richards, but the entire Fantastic Four. He knows Reed is a genius, perhaps the only one who rivals him intellectually. But Doom sees something Reed doesn't. Where Reed sees Franklin as a son, Doom sees a power source, a reality-bending instrument capable of forging a new order. Doom didn't storm into the Baxter building with an army. He didn't blast through walls. He walked in silently, because this is not about a battle. This is about a recruitment, or worse, a corruption. There's a theory that Doom isn't planning to kidnap Franklin in the traditional sense. No, Doom plans to mold him, to mentor him, twist him, make him see the world through Doom's lens. While the heroes are distracted with external threats, Kang's fallout, incursions, cosmic anomalies, Doom takes the boy under his wing, planting seeds of ideology. He doesn't need chains to bind Franklin. All he needs is influence. A child, even a powerful one, can be convinced, especially when the arguments are wrapped in seemingly noble causes. Doom will present himself as the only one who truly understands Franklin's power, as the only one willing to teach him control, responsibility, destiny. This subtle manipulation sets the stage for a terrifying future. By the time the Avengers or the Fantastic Four realize what's happening, Franklin may already be aligned with Doom, seeing him as a mentor or even a savior. And when you have a child with the ability to rewrite reality, choosing Doom's ideology over his own family's morals, the stakes rise beyond comprehension. Avengers Doomsday could be less about a physical confrontation and more about a desperate battle to save Franklin's soul, to pull him back from Doom's grasp before it's too late. Alternatively, the darker theory suggests Doom doesn't stop at manipulation. He uses Franklin as a living battery. In the comics, Doom has harnessed cosmic forces before. He's taken the power of the Beyonders, wielded the power of the Silver Surfer, and become God Emperor Doom during Secret Wars. Perhaps in the MCU, Doom's goal is to fuse Franklin's power into his own being. Not just ruling Latveria or Earth, but ruling all of existence. Avengers Doomsday may very well depict the rise of Doom as a multiversal god, with Franklin as the unwilling engine fueling his ascension. But there's another layer that makes this theory even more compelling. Franklin Richards is a child who hasn't yet discovered the full scale of his abilities. And Doom is the master of accelerating growth for his own ends. Doom could take Franklin to Latveria, away from his family, and subject him to ancient rituals, advanced scientific experiments, and psychological conditioning. This could rapidly age Franklin, turning him from a child into a young adult or even full-grown man in a fraction of the time. Why? Because Doom doesn't have the patience to wait for Franklin's powers to mature naturally. Doom needs a weapon now. He needs a force capable of reshaping the crumbling multiverse, stopping incursions, erasing enemies, and rewriting the world in Doom's image. This theory is further supported by the way the scene was shot. We don't see Doom's face. Not because it's unimportant, but because this isn't about Doom's personal vendetta with Reed Richards anymore. This is about a larger cosmic play. The focus on Franklin means the MCU is pivoting towards the next generation of heroes and villains. Franklin isn't just a side character. He is the linchpin of the upcoming saga. And let's not forget, the post-credit scene happens after the Fantastic Four's first steps. The phrase "first steps" could be symbolizing two things: the Fantastic Four establishing themselves in this universe, and Franklin taking his literal first steps toward becoming the most consequential figure in the MCU. Doom's entrance marks the end of innocence and the beginning of manipulation, power struggles, and perhaps even multiversal war. It's also possible that Doom doesn't plan to keep Franklin as an ally or a prisoner, but rather as a bargaining chip. With Kang defeated, but incursions still threatening reality, Doom may use Franklin to negotiate power among cosmic entities. We could see him broker deals with the Living Tribunal, Eternity, or even make threats to Celestials. Doom doesn't just want power for its own sake. He wants power recognized, institutionalized, carved into the bones of reality itself. Franklin Richards gives him leverage no other being possesses. This raises another tantalizing question. Could Franklin become the reason why Avengers Doomsday happens at all? What if the Avengers come into conflict not directly with Doom, but because Doom's manipulation of Franklin causes destabilization across timelines and realities? The Avengers, the Fantastic Four, and possibly even the X-Men may be forced into conflict, not just with Doom, but with an unstable, dangerously powerful Franklin who doesn't understand the consequences of his actions. Doom, as always, would position himself as the misunderstood hero, claiming that without his guidance, Franklin would have destroyed everything anyway. This classic Doom maneuver, to be the villain who believes he's the hero, could push the narrative into morally gray territory, forcing the heroes to make impossible choices. Now imagine the tragic possibility. Franklin, who starts as a symbol of hope, becomes the focal point of a multiversal war. The Fantastic Four must confront their own child. The Avengers must decide between saving the multiverse or saving Franklin. And Doom orchestrates it all from his throne, reveling in the chaos he engineered. This would make Avengers Doomsday not just a battle of fists and magic, but a battle of ideologies, of family, of survival versus compassion. Adding to the complexity is Doom's unmatched intellect and mastery of both science and sorcery. If Doom manipulates Franklin, you can bet he's also building contingencies. Maybe even creating artificial constructs, time duplicates, or mirror versions of Franklin as part of a broader, more sinister strategy. Doom doesn't just think 2 steps ahead, he's thinking centuries ahead. He might be setting up Franklin to be a false threat, while the real endgame involves Doom ascending to a cosmic throne, becoming something like the one above all or the next Beyonder equivalent in the MCU. Another angle to this theory involves Kang. We know Kang was introduced as a multiversal conqueror, but his defeat left a power vacuum. Doom, being the opportunist he is, could be planning to fill that void. By controlling Franklin, Doom could stabilize the multiverse under his singular rule, preventing new Kangs from emerging, ending the cycle of conquest, but at the cost of absolute oppression. In this scenario, the Avengers may be forced into an uneasy alliance with some of their old enemies, maybe even other versions of Kang, to stop Doom from reshaping reality forever. There's also the intriguing idea that Doom may not be alone in this plan. What if Doom is part of a secret council, a gathering of the most dangerous minds across the multiverse who see Franklin Richards as the ultimate wild card? Doom may have been chosen or self-appointed to extract Franklin and either use him or eliminate him. This adds a political thriller dimension to Avengers Doomsday, making it more than just a standard superhero movie. It becomes a narrative about control versus freedom, about the right to exist with unchecked power versus the fear of what that power can do. And let's not underestimate the possible personal element. Doom's long-standing hatred for Reed Richards could be the emotional core of this plot line. Imagine Doom standing before Reed, declaring that not only has he outsmarted him, but he's also taken his son. That ultimate betrayal, that violation of family, would drive Reed to the brink. We could see a Reed Richards pushed to his limits, willing to bend his own moral code, forging dark alliances, even risking everything to get Franklin back. And that's exactly where Doom thrives, in the cracks of human desperation, in the shadows of fractured morality. All these threads lead to one conclusion. The post-credit scene wasn't a simple tease, it was a declaration. Dr. Doom is no mere villain of the week. He is stepping in as the architect of the next era of the MCU. Franklin Richards is not just a child, he is the catalyst. And Avengers Doomsday won't be a typical battle. It will be a collision of destiny, power, family, and ideology, all centered around the most dangerous child in existence and the most calculating villain the MCU has ever known. The silence of Doom in that scene speaks louder than any explosion. The ominous removal of his mask signals the beginning of a long game that will take heroes to their breaking points, shake the foundation of the multiverse, and redefine the very fabric of power in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This isn't just the dawn of Doom. This is the first step toward Doomsday.